Hey everybody, Saigan here. Wanted to do kind of an informational, educational video on purchasing games for your family. Sai, this is kind of out of left field. No, it's not. So on Monday, I thought it'd be fun to do just a father and son stream. The kid was on a half day. He finished his homework. We played some Mario together. It was fun. And a lot of people took notice of how I interact with the kid and, how he's pretty well practiced at Mario, but I also let him play things like Super Meat Boy, which, definitely has a higher rating on it as far as the ESRB is concerned. And I wanted to take the time to discuss the ESRB rating system as one parent to other parents who may be curious about it, because I've been on both sides of this. I worked in a game store. We had an ESRB rating system. This wasn't at GameStop, so I can't speak for GameStop, which is like the only one left that's still corporate owned. I used to work at Game Crazy. I was an assistant manager at Game Crazy for 3 years, and I was a manager at Play and Trade for a little over a year before I heard that my son was on the way and I had to move on and get a better job. But something that I always did was I always tried to keep parents informed of the ESRB rating of a game, and a surprising number of them had no understanding of how it worked. Now, this is something that's available. Every store that I've been in has pamphlets with ESRB information. At this point in time, there is very, very little reason for any adult to get upset with a store for selling them something that they feel was inappropriate. The information is totally out there. It is up to the parents, myself included, to educate myself and yourselves on the content of games that you're going to be purchasing. And it goes beyond just E, T, and M. Everyone, teenage, mature. These are guidelines set by the ESRB. There is no law about this. Nobody's going to get in trouble for selling a child an M-rated game. It's up to the parents to have that responsibility, to monitor the kind of entertainment that their children are consuming. And it can be tricky sometimes. And I think that's one of the main reasons why it's important for parents to also play the games that their children are playing. I know not everybody out there is interested in games, but two reasons for this. One, the ESRB rating, while they can be pretty detailed, may not be as detailed as you like it, or may conflict. There's, let me give you an example here. Fatal Fury on the Neo Geo is rated E for everyone. King of Fighters 98, which is pretty much it's an extension of the Fatal Fury series, is rated teen, also for violence. Both of these have their ratings for violence. There's violence in here. There's violence in here. Suggestive themes. Suggestive themes. I suspect the only difference in why these ratings were any different is the cutesy graphics in one as opposed to the more serious graphics in the other. But content-wise, they're fairly identical as far as, what happens in a one-on-one fighting game. There are certain fighting games that go further with, the violence than others. Mortal Kombat is famous for it. But another thing to go off of is what you want your child to be playing at what age is going to differ entirely from the ESRB guidelines. I think the ESRB guidelines, here, I'll pull it up here. There's a website. All of this information is available to you. And I do suggest that other parents who have children who play games read. They've got early childhood, which I I don't actually have any examples of early childhood games. There were a bunch on the Nintendo 64. Those are going to be like your Mickey Mouse games, your educational Sesame Street games, things like that. Dora the Explorer games, things like that are going to be early childhood. Then there's everyone. Then there's the weird everyone 10 and up, which is like, well, it's mostly Mario stuff and there's comic mischief and things, but at the same time, there might be alcohol references, animated blood, comic mischief, fantasy violence, mild language, mild suggestive themes. Anything that you might see on daytime television, really. But then you also have a teen rating, which has alcohol references, fantasy violence, mild language, and suggestive themes. You can't go strictly off the ratings. You need to read why a game has its rating, and it'll be on the back of the box. Usually has a list right there. You have to read why the game has that rating. But that's still not good enough, because even though this is a teen game by ESRB standards, this is Dragon Quest 8. The alcohol references, the fantasy violence, the simulated gambling, the mild language. You're not going to find any language in here that's any worse than in like Disney's Sleeping Beauty. Suggestive themes, okay, fine. Well, you get that on a commercial too. You have to play the games that your kids are playing to truly understand what is going on in them and whether or not you want them playing it or not. Because I would allow a 3-year-old to play this game. That's just me. Some people might disagree with that. That's fine. Every family is going to have different rules and different expectations for what they want to let their children view. Another example between two games. We've got King of Fighters 98, which has some old school sprite graphics. And then we also have Dead or Alive 3, which is a more modern 3D fighting game with much more advanced graphics. But it also has mature sexual themes, which you probably can't see there because my camera sucks. Anyhow, yeah, mature sexual themes. They're right there on the cover, 2 of them. This also has suggestive themes. My Shiranui is a thing. So the level of appropriateness between these two games might still be different depending on the parent and depending on the child. What's appropriate here might not be appropriate here, even though on the back they're the same. Play the games that your kids are playing. Play games with your kids. It's a great chance to get to spend time together. Other weird examples. Jet Grind Radio. Totally fun, hilarious game. Animated violence and language. Well, does my son get to play this? Yes. Has he used any of the language in the game? Once. And I told him, bad word. Don't say that again. And that was all it took. And then you've got, further complicated questions. Like there's some weird ones in here. Here's a great one, because I think that most of these are semi-appropriate for children, although the difficulty may be out there. The Jak and Daxter series. Fantastic series. Pretty easy to play. I would say that most kids would be okay to play this. Comic mischief, mild violence, mild language, suggestive themes. Well, that sounds less bad than Dragon Quest IX. Play the games with the kids, figure out what's appropriate in them, or maybe even vet the game prior. Take some mom or dad time the night before and be like, all right, well, I'm going to get in 2 hours on Jak 2 before I decide whether or not I want the kid to play it. Find out what your local store's return policy is. Find out if you can try the game in the store. Even if you can't try the game in the store, go online. Reviews are kind of tricky because reviews show you like the best parts of the game or the most interesting parts of the game. This is actually, I'm kind of pandering to the Let's Play community here, but I'm kind of not, because this is honest. Let's Plays will allow you to see full gameplay of the game. It will let you just see what the game is like when somebody else is playing it. It can be the difference between picking up Ridge Racer or Grand Theft Auto. Watch what the game actually plays like. So, you know, Jack 2, teen rating. I'd totally let my kid play this. Armored Core 3, bizarrely, has a teen rating for just violence. And the violence in this is strange, because it's all just between robots. Are there people in the robots? Yes. Do we ever see them? No. But I would say that there is less living being on living being violence shown in Armored Core 3 than there is in Mario. Mario's curb stomping Goombas. Let's be fair about that. Yet strangely, teen rating, E rating. It's all in the presentation. And some families will be, again, more or less comfortable with it. You can't let the rating systems rule you, but it is a good guideline. And there are also other examples of that. Def Jam, Fight for New York, M-rated game. Why? Blood. Having blood listed alongside violence in the ESRB rating is a major, major difference. It's the difference between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Huge difference. Pay attention to what's in the game. Sexual themes, strong language. Oh my God. Yeah, my son's not allowed to play this one. Not allowed to touch this one. Less because the violence is kind of, well, no, I mean, there are people getting hit by trains. There are a couple of points where this gets kind of into Mortal Kombat realm, but definitely there's a lot of language in this game that I don't want my son to be hearing. So he neither gets to play this nor watch me play this. This is a post-bedtime game in the house. Silent Hill Origins. Now, aside from the blood and gore and language and suggestive themes and violence, some people might be okay with that depending on their age of their child. But what Silent Hill and a lot of other horror games don't tell you is they don't tell you about the contents of the story. Silent Hill storytelling and Fatal Frame storytelling, some of these games stick with you, and some of them will creep you the hell out. Now, even if you're fine with your 12-year-old playing something like Mortal Kombat, which the older ones, I wouldn't really argue with it. I played Mortal Kombat when I was 12, and I haven't turned into a murderer. Yet. It's a joke. It's a joke. Please don't come for me. They're going to have very similar listings. But just because you're okay with your kid playing Mortal Kombat doesn't necessarily mean you want them playing Silent Hill. I would be fine with my son playing Grand Theft Auto at an earlier age than I would be with him playing Silent Hill at an earlier age. Because these games freaked me the hell out when I played them. They still kind of freak me out. And until I know that, you know, he can make it to the bathroom in the middle of the night after a horrifying Silent Hill nightmare, I just don't want any horrible nightmare bedwetting episodes. Depends on the game. But on the other hand, we have Halo. My son's 8. He's been playing Halo since he was like 5. He really enjoys the series. He doesn't really catch any of the, you know, more serious tones. There is blood and gore, there is violence, there is language. He knows to not use the bad language that he hears in the games, because I talk to him about it. I feel that a lot of parenting challenges in the modern age of media can be correctly addressed, excuse me, if parents just talk to their kids. Like, I don't want him seeing such and such, or I don't want him seeing what's on the news because it's complicated and scary and I don't know how to talk to him about it. Kids are actually really, really smart. I mean, kids are also really, really dumb sometimes. They'll do some stupid things. But they are really, really smart. You know, it's like the whole gay marriage thing. A lot of people are like, well, how do you explain it to your kid? Well, it's really simple. That guy loves another guy. Oh, that's it. That was the conversation. That was it. We were done. It's never come up again. It hasn't been an issue. It's a non-issue. And the same thing has gone on with Halo. He plays it because he thinks that the Master Chief is cool, which he's right. The game is fun. He's right. And he's being exposed to a lot of actually really good things in this game. He's learning about not just doing the right thing and, people who sacrifice themselves, but he's also learning about more complicated themes like, during the course of Halo 2, it's revealed that a lot of the Covenant don't necessarily agree with what the leadership is doing, and some of them break off, and then you're working with the Sangeli, who used to be your enemies in Halo 2. There are themes about forgiveness in this that you're not going to find in this. I can honestly say that although, Mario Brothers is a totally safe game for my son to be playing, I can be like, either of the kids, the youngest one as well, Caden, who is 3. I can leave him with Mario. I don't have to worry at all. Now, I do feel that Caden is still kind of immature for Halo, so he doesn't really get to play Halo yet. He can watch sometimes, but that's also because I've played through the games and I'm familiar enough with them to know, like, okay, I need to either A, cover his eyes right now, or B, send him out of the room. And having that knowledge of the game allows me more freedom in my gaming and allows the kids more freedom in the gaming, because then I can kind of pick and choose the moments for when things might be appropriate. I can tell Garen, yes, you can play this, but only until Caden comes home from daycare. Things along that line. Maximo is another one that's kind of like Jak and Daxter, where it has a rating for violence. It's a teen-rated game. I think that teen-rated difficulty. I don't think he's going to get through it, but he's impressed me before. Super Meat Boy. It's all pixel graphics. It seems hilariously violent because you're playing a wad of meat, and when he hits a razor blade or something, he explodes in blood. It's comedic, though, because it's on, like, the same level as Looney Tunes. And although now we look back at Looney Tunes and some classic Disney movies and we're like, my God, this is horrifying. Well, as kids, we didn't pick up on the horrifying part. It was purely entertainment. I let my son play Meat Boy. And then there's things like Catherine, which he's never going to be old enough to play. Thanks for watching, everybody. Parents, if you are confused or unsure about the content of a game, play it before your kid. I'm sorry, the sunlight is so bright right there. Play it before your kid. Find out from the store what their return policy is. For God's sakes, hold on to your receipts. The person working behind the counter is not your enemy. They want to make sure that you get the best game also, because they prefer happy customers in the store to angry customers. Nobody is out to make you buy something that you're just going to want to bring back. They would rather miss out on the sale than deal with somebody coming back in and angry at them. If they have a demo available in the store, that's great. That is fantastic. Demo the game before you try it. If they don't, find out what the return policy is. Try it yourself after the kid goes to bed. If it's a multiplayer game, play it with your child. If it's not a multiplayer game, even if it's a single player game, take turns. Hand off the controller. Gaming, although it has kind of this weird rap, it's getting better. But for a while, gamers had like this weird idea where everybody was just, holed up in their dark basement. I'm recording this from a semi-lit basement, but, the kid comes down here and plays with me. It's not just a solo adventure being a gamer. It can be a social one, and it can be an amazing one, and it can be a great bonding experience, and it can also teach your kid how to communicate with others, how to be competitive, yet still polite. Play Street Fighter with your kids. It's a fantastic experience. You grow together, you get to talk to each other. It's like playing chess. You teach them the moves, and then you advise them on when to do things. The first time my son threw a Hadoken, it was a great experience, and he's taken a couple of rounds off me now in Street Fighter. He can play Ryu at a very basic level, which is still better than I was when I was his age. So thank you for watching, everybody. I'm sorry about the kind of long video. If you guys have questions about parenting as a gamer or parenting to a gamer, please write them in below. I'll do a video on it. This is a very interesting subject, and it's a subject that I think parents from the previous generation were not really prepared for. I think a lot more parents are prepared these days than, like, you know, my parents were, because my parents didn't grow up with video games. It was something new. They didn't really understand how to deal with me and how to deal with video games, and it caused problems. There was a time where I went into, God, I think it was Electronics Boutique, and I bought Mortal Kombat 3 for the Genesis, and I was hype. I'd been playing Mortal Kombat 2 at my friends' places. Mortal Kombat 3 came out. I'd saved up my money. Mom, I saved up my allowance. Can I go buy a video game? It's your money. You earned it. Go do what you want. Like, half an hour later, she was in the store trying to return it. They couldn't accept a return on it. So I wound up getting to keep Mortal Kombat. I did some research, because originally she wasn't going to let me play it. On my end, I had to do the research that there is actually a way to turn the blood off. So we made a compromise. I can play the game so long as the blood is off. Still a great game. And by communicating, we were able to reach an agreement and everybody was happy. Talk to your kids, play games with your kids. It's a great experience. There's not really any reason not to. So this is Saigan. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions about my parenting strategies, being the father of a gamer, or I don't know. I guess random parenting questions are fine too, I guess. Got 2 of them now. One's 8, one's 3, almost 4. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for listening. Bye.